Hey everybody, happy Freeform Friday. How's everyone doing out there wherever you are today? I hope everyone had a great Friday, and it's now officially almost the weekend, so yay for that. Hi Lori. Welcome to, I didn't put it up on the, I know I can do stringing hollow beads, which is a huge pain in the neck. Got one strand done, I'm working on the other two. So we're going to be doing not that.
Yay.
Here, I'm going to put up, right, exactly. That is the project that we are going to be doing. That is the honeycomb bracelet project, which got canceled a couple weeks ago because I was too tired to stream. So that's what I'm doing for my Freeform Friday tonight. So starting with 8mm beads, and I'm stringing 18 onto each piece of my knotting cord. So I'm going to talk tools and supplies while I'm... Oh no, Pam, I'm so sorry. That's Stinky. How's he doing? So I'm going to talk about tools and supplies while I'm stringing beads. So you are going to need knotting cord or macrame cord. The 0.8mm size is what I'm using tonight. And the 0.8mm size, wow, that was so many words that tried to come out all at once. The 0.8mm size is probably your best bet for this because it needs to actually, you need to be able to string beads onto it, and like the thicker ones, the 1.5, it's very difficult to find beads that have holes that are that large. So of my 0.8mm macrame cord, I have 3 pieces, each of which are 24 inches long. Now the only reason that they're 24 inches long instead of 12 is because I'm using one of the bigger macrame boards, and so you need the length to stretch. But if you have a mini macrame board, you can totally do 12-inch pieces instead of 24-inch pieces. And then I have one piece that is 6 feet long. The reason that there's such a big differential is because basically in this project, 3 cords do nothing but hold the bead. So 3 of these cords are not going to get knotted at all. The one cord, that long cord, is the one that actually does all of the knotting in the entire project. So I have 8mm beads. I just have these hollow little shiny guys, and so 8mm beads, and I'm stringing 18 beads onto each strand, and that's going to make me a pretty average sized bracelet. It doesn't take quite as many beads as you might think because you've got the macrame closure in the back. That'll give you some extra length. Now I'm going to use all the same color of beads on my project this evening if I can get them on a dadgum string. But what I did, as you can see on my sample, is I did kind of an ombre thing, which I just strung 3 of one color, and then 3 of the next color, and then 3 of the next color, and I strung the identical pattern on all 3 strings. Oh, yay! Yay for kitty watching. Of course, oh right, like if I can't ever get this strung, we're never gonna have a stream. But I forgot my trick that I used last time when I was getting frustrated with stringing through the hollow beads. And this trick works because these beads have fairly large holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, goodness gracious, let go. I'm going to take a piece of wire. This is just a scrap piece of, excuse me? Okay, apparently my hand camera decided it was going to have a moment there. But this is just a scrap piece of 22 gauge wire. And so I'm going to go ahead and just fold that in half, and I'm going to use it like a needle because it's a lot easier to get the stiffer wire through your beads than it is the end of the cord. Hopefully this will make things go faster. We'll see. Okay, really? Computer, nobody likes you right now. Yeah. and then you can just yank that cord through. Like that. So I guess it's kind of 6 1/2 dozen the other, which one takes less time. Oh goodness, still crazy times we're living in. How many is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I put 19 on. Strung one more bead than I needed to. That's no bueno. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and string my last strand of beads. So again, it's 18 beads on each string. So you need 18 times 3 8mm beads with holes that are large enough to accommodate the cord that we're using, which is a 0.8mm cord. As far as supplies go, anytime you're working with macrame cord, a cigarette lighter is always a good thing to have around. We're going to use it for finishing off the ends, and if you don't want to use my little needle trick for stringing the beads on, you can use it to make essentially a little needle-like end on your cord that will help you string through the beads. The other good thing about the needle is you can actually just like stack them up on the needle and then yank them all down at the same time. So, you know, it's always nice when you remember your tricks halfway through the stream. So let's see, tomorrow night is this. We're going to be finishing up our fabricated geode pendant, and we're going to be following that up with our white tie sail. We have acquired new tiaras, because no, I never did find mine. I don't know what Mamie did with it, but we have backup tiaras, so we will be tiara'd and fancified for the white tie sale tomorrow. That's going to be the premiere of our new merchandise that I got on my shopping trip. All that stuff that you saw on the unboxing is now priced and ready to be properly sold. So that's going to be tomorrow night at 7:30 Central Time. I'm working on class samples for next week. I am going to recycle a torch class because it was a bit of a stressful day here at the Beading Dreams, and I was having difficulties settling down with my torch. So we're going to do the halo ring.
And not aiming it at certain places.
Right, and not aiming it at certain people, yes. No moms nor customers were immolated today. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So this takes, of the 8mm beads, it takes like 2.5 strands, 8-inch strands. 14, 16, 18. But hopefully I can settle down with my torch on the project that I was hoping to do for this week. I can do for next week, because I think it's going to be a cool project. And then we have a Kumihimo project, which I am in the midst of working on right now. Fun earring project. And I'm going to try and put a wire ring on the stream for Corvus, because she requested more wire ring classes. Okay, so the boring part of the stream is now done. I've strung all of my beads. So I have 3 knotting cords, each of which has 18 beads on them. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my macrame board, which means I shouldn't put my stuff on top of my macrame board, because I need that. I'm going to set up my macrame board, and I think I'm gonna, let's see, let me see. Sorry, we're going to have to do the Allison plays with the camera focus thing for a minute. Let's see, so does anyone have any exciting weekend plans aside from isolating and trying not to get COVID?
Coming to our sale.
And attending our sale on Saturday night? Of course, that's super fun. Or at least I hope it's going to be. It should be fun. Okay. Oh, yay. Haircuts are fun. I actually cut my own hair the other day. And I'm getting a proper haircut for my birthday. Oh, for goodness sakes, just do the thing. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and set these up. So I'm going to go to the top of my macrame board, to the 3 notches there. This is why I really wish that I had been able to find a mini one. Oh, hey, there's a mini one. Like there's literally not room for the macrame board and me back here together. That's okay. Aha. Okay. Little macrame board, much easier to work with in this small, cramped space. Good Lord in heaven. Really? Okay, I'm gonna go with that for exposure. Okay, so now I'm gonna set these up on the top of my macrame board, and I'm gonna put one in each notch, and the center notch tends to get a little stretched out on these macrame boards, so I'm gonna use these 3 here on the side. So I'm just gonna take the top of my cord. I wanna make sure that I leave enough, that this is gonna be the end of my bracelet, so I wanna make sure that they've got enough to do my actual ending on the back here. So I've overestimated by a lot. It's like 6 inches. And then make sure your beads are on your macrame board, and then clip it into the notch in the bottom, like so. So I'm going to do that with all 3 of my cords. My second one, so I've got 2 lines of beads now. And that's our 3rd line of beads. Okay, so at this point, your macrame board setup should look like this on the front. And then you should have this hanging down in the back. And at this point there's not a top or a bottom to this, so you can start on whichever side you want. I am not centering, no, I'm not centering the cords on the board in any way. So what I've done, okay, I haven't purposefully centered the cords on the board. That just happened. Basically I went 6 inches here, and that left me with about 6 inches there. But the only thing that's important is that you make sure you have at your beginning side, you know, 5 or 6 inches, and then whatever's left is just at the other end. So that is a good observation that something that I didn't even know I had done. Okay, so now I've got my 6-foot piece of cord. It doesn't really matter how long the tails are on either end barb as long as they're at least 6 inches. 5 inches is fine. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 6-foot piece of cord, right? That's the really long one. I'm going to thread it underneath all 3 of these cords, and I'm going to find the middle of it. And good trick to finding the middle, you know, because your arms are only so long, if you just take the 2 ends and put them together, then you can just sort of bring your fingers down the cord and that's my center. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie my 2 sides of cord together in just a regular half-hitch knot or half square knot. I'm going to pull that nice and tight. Now I'm going to start doing a square knot. So that's what, runaway bead. So that's how we start and how we end our piece, is with a little section of square knots. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like I did 5 on this one, so I'm going to do 5 on this one. So this is an alternating square knot, and when you're doing an alternating square knot, you got to alternate sides. Otherwise what happens is you get a spiraling square knot, which is very pretty, but not what we're going for in this particular project. So the best way I know to teach a square knot is like so. I'm going to teach it to you a couple times, and then I'm going to show you how I actually do it, which is a little bit of a faster way. So I'm going to take the cord that's on the right hand side of center, and I'm going to make a backwards figure 4. Now my cord is crossing over all 3 of my core cords. Now I'm going to take the cord that's on the left side of center, that's the one that I didn't make the figure 4 with. I'm going to drop it over the tail of the 4, and then I'm going to put it underneath all of these cords and bring it up into this space right here. Like so. I'm going to pull, and then I'm just going to pull evenly on both of my cords as tight as possible, and that gives me my first square knot. If I prop it up with this, it's going to be it's not too high. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to start on the left-hand side of center. So I'm going to go make my figure 4 on the left-hand side of center. Now it's not backwards, it's actually right ways figure 4. Then I'm going to take the cord that is on, I'm just going to clip that in there just so it'll hold itself. I'm going to take the cord that's on the right-hand side of center, drop it over that tail of my 4, and then the end goes underneath everything. It's a little easier to see when I do it that way. Pull it all the way through. Now we're back to the right hand side, so we're going to make a figure 4 with our right hand cord, and then my left hand cord goes over and then under and up into that triangle. Okay, so that's the best way I've ever found to explain a square knot. Now, how do I do it? It's all the same motions, but I use both of my hands and pull the strings from the tops instead of the bottoms. Doesn't take quite as much time. So I'm on the left hand side. I know that because I can see this little line here. That line, whatever side that's on, that's the side that you need to knot next. So what I'll do is I'll take one cord in each hand, maybe, and just grab this here and then reach under, grab it, and pull. And I'm on the right hand side. So what I'm doing is I still have my figure 4 here, it's just kind of hovering, and then I'm already dropping that cord over, and then I'm just going to reach under with my fingers, grab that, and pull it through. Once again, if you're not familiar with the square knot, that's probably unnecessarily confusing for you, and I'm going to say don't go there quite yet. Now I'm going to slide up my first bead, and I'm going to do a square knot around this bead, right? Yes, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do one side though, so I'm on my left side, so I'm going to do my left side, and do one knot, like so, and then I'm going to slide up my 2 outside beads. Okay, and the way that this goes, and sorry, I need to refresh my memory. Okay, this is why after the disaster, after the unmitigated disaster that one time where I tried to do a macrame cabochon setting and couldn't figure it out, couldn't remember how to do it on the air, now I take pictures. Smart. Learning from my own mistakes.
That's all any of us can do.
Okay, so what's going to happen is my right hand cord is going to come on the inside here, and it's going to go over and then under and through, like that. And then I'm going to snug that up to my bead. I'm going to do the same way on my other side. So it goes over, so I'm crossing over from the inside to the outside, and then under from the outside to the inside. And then pull and tighten. And then slide up another bead in the middle. So it's gonna look real wonky at the start, but when you see how when you put that up there, it starts making the honeycomb pattern. As with anything else, the beginning is always weird and wonky and strange, but this is where we want to be. So now I'm going to do another square knot, and I'm on the right hand side, so I'm going to do a right hand square knot. Pull it nice and tight, and then slide up my 2 outside beads, and again under, so you can see that a little bit better. So it's under, no, not under, over, over, under, through, and tighten it up. And then same on the other side. So the over comes from the inside to the outside, the under comes from the outside to the inside. So it should look like that. Okay, so this is my over here, and then this is my under and through. And then just go ahead and pull that up. And another bead up there. And now it's a left-hand square knot. It's harder to keep track of what side your square knots are supposed to be on when you're doing this project because you don't have that full square going on. But the good news is it doesn't really matter that much if you screw up your side. So over, under, through, and over, under, and through. So you can see that honeycomb pattern starting to form. It's really cool. It's a really cool project. It's a really fun pattern. So I believe that this is a left-hand square knot. Like I said, it really doesn't matter that much. Like, I don't think I was actually keeping track of it at all on my sample. And just don't point it out to anybody and it'll all be fine. Alright, now slide up your 2 outside ones, and again from the center down from the center. And then slide up another one. And notice I'm not doing a full square knot, I'm only doing half of a square knot. You can do a full square knot if you want, but it doesn't make quite, I like this pattern better. But feel free to experiment with your own stuff. That's how you come up with new things. It's experimenting. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue this pattern until I've knotted all of my beads onto my bracelet. So the cool thing about pre-counting your beads is you don't have to think at this point about how many beads are on your bracelet. Now you should feel free to stop and check for length if you want to, because especially if you have a smaller than average wrist or a larger than average wrist, that number of 18 might not be perfect for you, but it should give you at least a good ballpark. And again, the cool thing about the macrame closure is that you can make it adjustable. So and the thing about macrame closures is they're adjustable. You do need to remember that they can only go so small. Like the closure can only close that far and no farther. It can open as far as you need it to. So if you have to make a judgment call on whether to make your bracelet a little too small or a little too big, go on the realm of a little too small, because that your macrame closure can compensate for that very, very easily. Can you? And I'm just going to make sure that you're keeping everything flat. This is one of those techniques where if you knot too tightly, you're going to crunch up your pattern. So you need to just not tightly enough to keep everything in place, but you don't have to crank down on it as hard as you do on some macrame projects. You know what, Lori, it actually is, it is gonna wind up looking the same, because did I? That's a good question. I bet I did. 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, 18. No? We'll see how it does when we get there. Nothing in there. But so what Lori is asking, and I honestly can't remember how that's going to shake out at the end of this project, but to have the end of the bracelet look like the beginning of the bracelet where there's a single bead kind of jutting out, do we need to put another bead on the center strand? And the answer to that at this particular moment is I don't exactly know, but we want to figure it out real soon here. Hi, Smee! How's everything in the land of San Antonio? I put a fun earring project on next week, Amy, for you. And we have a Kumihimo project, which I don't know exactly who that's for, but it's going to be fun, so it's for everybody. And then I'm going to try for a wire ring for Corvus, because she requested wire rings. It's going to have to be a Thursday noon class, so it might just be a simple wire ring, honestly, because I haven't done that in forever on stream. And then I am recycling a torch class because, like I said, today was very hectic here at the Beading Dreams, and my torch and I were not getting along. So we're going to be doing the Halo Ring class, which is actually one of my favorite torch projects. So I'm not completely mad about that. And of course, tomorrow night we have our white tie sale where we will premiere new merchandise, all the new goodies that you saw on the unboxing, in a whole lot of different price points. So there will be some schmancy fancy stuff on there, but there will also be plenty of really cool, reasonably priced merchandise. And there's a lot more new merchandise than what you saw at the unboxing, so we'll be doing new merchandise on online sales for quite a while. But I'm going to do all of my favorite stuff I'm going to start with tomorrow night, because why not? What have I done? I did something while I was talking and I don't know what it was. But that's okay. We're just gonna... I have absolutely... Oh, that's what I did. I hit one side but not the other side. You gotta do both sides. Okay, so you can see that cool honeycomb pattern forming pretty well now. So once you get it started, it's a pretty easy pattern, and you'll notice even though it looks super complicated, it's not taking me that long to do. Like I've got 2, 4, 5 beads left. Possibly 6 if I decide to put an extra one on that middle strand. Macrame is a good travel project now that people are traveling again. You can't obviously bring a lighter with you on a plane to finish it, but you can do everything. You can do everything but. Especially if you pre-string your beads. That way you don't have to worry about, beads rolling all over the compartment of an airplane, because that's no fun. Usually if I drop a bead on a plane, unless it's a really expensive bead, it's just gone. Sacrificed to the gods of travel. Alright, so I'm coming down to the end of my honeycomb bracelet here. Now I will also make a note that the angle at which you hold your macrame board makes a huge difference as to how easy this is. The camera makes me work at a very unnatural angle, which is why I'm a little slow and awkward here. So of course when you're working, make sure you find the working position that works best for you. You will thank yourself in the long run. Well, sometimes it's a good excuse. My gosh. See, so we didn't do hangings when I was in school. we did friendship bracelets, and we would always pin them to our legs and do them under our desk in class. Okay, so the verdict here is that Lori is right. In order to have the end of the bracelet look like the beginning, you need one more strand, or one more bead on your middle strand than on your other two strands. I'm actually going to accomplish that by taking these two beads off instead of adding another one on. So I'm going to do my square knot here. And then I'm going to replicate my beginning. So now I'm going to start doing a series of square knots around all three of these cords. Nope, 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 get back up there. Okay, so I've got that, and I'm going to yank on that, and that's going to pull everything together. You can kind of pop that one back out, and then we're just going to go ahead and keep doing our square knotting for, again, a total of 5 knots, I think is what I did before. Sorry, that's my little prop, it's holding it up. You can also, if you need a little bit of extra cord, at the end here, you can actually take this whole thing and shift it up and just put that in there, and that'll give you a little bit more leeway down here, a little more room to move your fingers. Easier when you can actually get your fingers underneath. So pull those threads through. That's 3, 4. Thanks, me. It's really fun, and it's not difficult at all. I mean, I did pre-string, and that's 5. I did pre-string 1.5 strands of my beads before I got on the air. But other than that, I mean, literally I started at 6:30, 6:25-ish, and it's 7 o'clock and I'm pretty much done. I need to do my closure, but first I need to finish off my macrame cords at this end, okay? So you need to be very careful when you're finishing off your macrame cords that you identify the cords which are holding the beads and the cord with which you've been knotting. The cord with which you've been knotting is the one you need to finish off. The other ones you still need, so don't cut those off. I'm going to go ahead and trim it pretty short, down to like a 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to get everything I don't want to melt out of the way. I'm going to take my lighter and I'm just going to hold it next to that cord, and the cord's going to start to melt. And when it gets down to my knot, I'm just going to smash it with the lighter to seal my cord against my knot. And that is why I love these polycords, is they're so easy to finish. It was 2 24-inch strands of knotting cord with 17 beads on them and one with 18 beads, and the one with 18 beads is the one that turns out to be the center one. Okay, so now we're going to do our macrame closure, very quick square knot closure. Best way to do this, or easiest way that I've found, is to take all of your cords and just bring them parallel to each other. So I've got my bracelet looking like a giant loop-de-loo. And I'm going to clip that into the corner of my macrame board. You can use any cord, Barb. This is cord that's often used for macrame, and it's called macrame cord or Chinese knotting cord, but you could use anything. It's just, if you're using something that doesn't melt, something like leather or an organic, then you're going to have to finish it off with glue. instead of melting it like I just did. So now it goes under 6 cords, and this is just a scrap that I had from my long piece. So now I'm going to go ahead and once again do my square knot. So figure 4 under all 6. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Pull it nice and tight, and then left, and then right, left. The other cool thing about the Chinese knotting cord is it comes in about 1 billion colors. I'm not even kidding. So as far as how many knots to do for this closure, anywhere between 5 and 10 is usually good. So what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We go for 8. So that's 7. And 8. And there's my macrame closure. I'm going to take this off of my board. I'm officially done with my board. I don't need that anymore. And then once again, identify the cord with which you have been knotting, and that is the cord that you're going to finish off. Once again, make sure you get everything that you don't want to melt out of the way. And then what I will typically do to make sure that when I finish my bracelet it's even is I will grab my loose cords, of which there should be 3 on each side, and just go ahead and pull my bracelet all the way closed. That way there's not an issue with, oh shoot, the gap on this side was bigger than the gap on that side. This is a little pokey. Sometimes you'll find it'll make a really sharp edge there. So I'm just going to use my lighter and just sort of blunt that down because I don't want anybody to stab themselves. And then your bracelet just needs to open up wide enough to go over your hand. So unless you're specifically knowing that you need to extend your bracelet to accommodate someone with a larger wrist, you're usually good with going about 1.5 inches or so from your knot when it's fully closed. And then I'm just going to take all 3 of those cords and tie them in a knot all together. If you have a bead that will fit all 3 cords, you can put it on the end. I don't particularly want to try and shove all 3 of these through one of these gold beads, so I'm just going with a knot. You do have to do something on the end though. It's important because what you don't want to happen is you don't want your cords to pull back through this closure knot here. Now that is fixable, but the fix for that is you have to redo your closure knot, which isn't the end of the world, but if you can avoid extra work, then by all means avoid extra work. Pull your knot nice and tight, and then you can trim those ends short, and then you can either leave them like that, which I think I'm going to do, or you can melt them down against your knots to create a cleaner edge. Alright, and that's it. That's our Freeform Friday, aka honeycomb bracelet class. Really fun project. Hope everyone enjoyed hanging out with me this evening, watching me do this. I'm sorry that I canceled out on you guys for this 2 Saturdays ago, but I'm glad I was able to fit it in as a freeform. Don't forget, tomorrow we're back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, finishing our fabricated geode pendant. And then at 7:30 p.m. is our white tie sale, where we are going to premiere our new merchandise. So everyone have a great night. Again, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, tomorrow at 6.